Welcome to episode 2 of Trash It or Stash It, the show where I review things that I like because I have nothing better to do. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about, wait for it, Genlock. Let's go! The way the theme song just makes itself present in the entire show, the way it just uplifts the character, shows out their personalities, man, such a good intro. I actually didn't come across the show on my own. My parents actually wanted to watch it because it was a sci-fi show and they thought I'd like it. And I was like, I'm not gonna like it, it looks like War Robots. And then I actually really liked it, and I actually wanted to watch the entire episode. And I wanted to watch the entire season in one day. What made this show good is not only was it a breath of fresh air, but it was also a good mix of CGI, character writing, and even sci-fi. It wasn't too far in the future to where it felt unrealistic, but it had just enough hint of fictional stuff combined with sci-fi to make it actually enjoyable. To summarize the main premise of the show, basically the year is like 2070 something and humanity's now during World War III. We don't know who's fighting who, but essentially America's gone to crap. But yeah, the Union is trying to fight the bad guys, and in doing so they have a program called the Genlock. And like with most TV shows, a small percentage of the population through DNA with different brain function are able to ascend to a higher plane of existence and upload their minds into technology. And doing this, they basically just created remote control drones that are not really remote control because a human is actually piloting them using their mind inside a drone. It's pretty cool. There's also a lot of tension within the show as well, and a lot of, I wouldn't say suspense, but a lot of drama. Like, they establish that a long period of time has gone on from the first episode, or at least the first events of the episode, when New York City gets attacked, and damn do they attack New York City pretty dangerously. There's this like major thing called a behemoth, but moving on. The main character, Chase, or one of the main characters I should say, basically gets down and trying to save New York City, which he does, but he ends up basically killing himself. But spoiler alert, he's actually still alive. He's just a corpse, sort of. His body's being kept alive by technology and by this doctor who basically helps the rest of the crew join Genlock. He basically selects multiple people and basically is like, you guys have cool brains, you guys work differently, and you guys are what Genlock needs. There's a couple, obviously, things in there that are like, there's a little bit of representation every now and then, but like, it wasn't in-your-face kind of representation. Like, yeah, there's this one, like, sniper girl person, and they were pretty cool, and I guess, like, that didn't make the show bad. If anything, that made the show better, because at least they acknowledged it. It wasn't in your face. We'll get to that. You have the caring, mindful, strategic Chase. You have the funny, passionate Cam. You have the warrior-esque Yasmin, I think that's how it's pronounced. You have the strong-minded, interesting, quirky Valentina, and obviously the butt-headed warrior kind of Kazuya. I think I said that right, or maybe it's Kazu, I don't really know. Dr. Rufus Weller is probably my favorite character in the entire show besides Cam, because Rufus is this overall like chill dude. He's like in his 50s, 40s, and he's just like cracking jokes, and essentially he's there and he ends up being the sort of mentor for the characters, even if he doesn't last all the way. As I mentioned, there's a lot of drama within the show, mainly with Chase and his girlfriend, whose name is like Miranda. I don't know her last name though. And basically it's been like 5-ish years. She's moved on. They still kind of like each other, but at the same time it's like, why didn't you try and reach out to me? It's like, bro, I was a dead man. What are you talking about? I literally have no legs. So yeah, she's kind of mad that he couldn't just like AI hologram himself, because now there's AI holograms in this world where you can just upload yourself and you can be an AI hologram and talk to people. Anyways, Miranda has this new boyfriend. Chase ain't too happy about that, so he tries to be a little cocky because his ego broken, which I think I'd be too. But the first season is basically all about being dramatic, being suspenseful, and having just the right amount of characters to make it seem real, and that's exactly what a show needs. Most of the time, things just happen because they need to happen, and the characters kind of just react in a weird way, and they just shout stuff. Oh my god, he's using his temporal time ability. No. These people like actually have emotions. They interrupt each other, they talk over each other, they have arguments that are actually worth it. And the show, the first season overall, is really good. It's not perfect, obviously it has its problems. Sometimes the pacing can be a little bit different. Sometimes the scenes can feel like they're going on for too long or too short. And sometimes they reuse things because it's just easy. Overall, the show is very good, and I would actually highly recommend you watch it if you're a fan of sci-fi. I also like how just like all the characters have their own unique personalities that kind of clash with each other, so do their robots. And speaking of robots, there's actually a lot of important things that actually happen in the show, mainly sacrifices. Chase can't really be a normal human anymore if he ends up uploading himself into the robot too many times, and he can't be a human anymore. Look at that. Now he's stuck as an AI hologram and is stuck inside the robot at the end of the first season. A lot of the show is about heroism and self-sacrifice for the benefit of others, and that's something that the show definitely does well, especially with its great action sequences and obviously CGI. And I would give this show 10 out of 10 out of 10 out of 10. I'd give this show like an 8 or 9 out of 10. You gotta stash the first season. This season is goated. It's so good. And the theme song. Now the second season. If the first season was written by the people who did like Star Wars, the original trilogy, the second season was written by a bunch of Twitter nerds. Oh my goodness, bro. The second season sucks. Like, it actually sucks. Like, I'm a very accepting kind of guy. I'm not really that mean, unless it's to my friends as a joke. But the second season is literally terrible. So basically, remember I said that all that stuff earlier, it's not in your face, like, oh yeah, this girl's like, oh yeah, she's what's the word? She's totally a Twitter influencer who has like 1,000 things in her bio, but it wasn't in your face. It was like maybe a couple jokes every now and then, but it wasn't in your face. Now, it's in your face. There's like multiple sex scenes. There's literally like robot strippers or something. I don't really know. There's this new guy he's gay, but also like he always talks about it. And it's like, what happened to the first season? And now the second season not only focuses more on like that woke stuff, which doesn't make it bad again. It's just in your face, but it also focuses heavily. I mean, heavily on religion. You heard that right. A sci-fi show is focused on religion. What made the first season good is what made the second season bad. At the end of the first season, they end up finding an evil copy of Chase who is like, oh, this might be the original Chase. Am I the fake Chase? I don't know. And there's this whole build up to the final battle because they can't really counter Chase because he is Chase. He's the military guy. And by the time that you get to the second season, it's just like, okay, now there's thousands of Chases. And now they get to like halfway through the season, there's now these other drones. And nope, they're not copies of Chase, they're copies of everyone. Who decided that this was a good idea? And the show focuses more on the second season on things like trauma, religion, and wokeness, versus like sci-fi, characters, world building. And the thing that I guess the second season does do right is it basically shows that in war there is no winners. There's this whole part where like they talk about how the Union and the other side, I still can't remember it, the Union technically started the war. So it's kind of like, are they fighting for the good side or the bad side? And by the end of the show, the kind of Genlock team kind of like goes their own way. I mean, it's not a concluding ending because, well, the idea is that the bad guys, their plan is to like I don't know, it's like to destroy the Earth so humanity can ascend with technology to a higher plane. So like they like flood New York City and they're like, oh yeah, the Earth's gonna die in a couple months. We gotta make sure to ascend everyone because they're basically the people that can ascend are also Genlock compatible, but they're gonna try and find a way to make it accessible to the entire population, which I guess is pretty cool. But like that was their plan, to like kill everyone so they can like, you know, ascend. But it's like the Union started the war, so it's like everything from this first season that we thought was cool and like, you know, was built up is for nothing. Because technically, we're the bad guys in this. Technically, there's really no good or bad guys in war. But it's the winners of the war who decide who are the bad guys. So the second season, although does hit good on things such as like politics and war, everything that you liked about the first season is essentially, well, not in the second season. But I guess as a show, that doesn't make the entire show bad, just the second season. And the final boss, let me tell you, the final boss is hideous. Like, it's like, I've seen Dark Souls, right? And this is fine. This is not fine. So if I had to rate the second season out of 10, the second season is a 5 out of 10, if not a 4. And trash it, just trash it. Just imagine the second season never happened, and I think your life would be 10 times better. But the first season, first season, if you're a sci-fi fan, you gotta check it out. But other than that, you guys enjoyed, and as I said earlier, Star Wars wrote the first season, a bunch of Twitter people wrote the second season. Have a great day, you guys. I'll see you later. Take care.